So good morning, my friends, YouTubers. My last upload was a reflection on 1 John chapter 3 verse 2, where St John says, "See what love the Father has bestowed on us in letting us be called the children of God." Yet that is what we are. And it was a reflection on St. Thomas Aquinas's interpretation of that passage in reference to the perfect happiness of seeing the divine essence. And that was taken from the Summa Theologica of St. Thomas. And I think that was actually the first part of the Summa Theologica, where St. Thomas deals with happiness in the eighth article. Today, I would like to have a reflection on the same passage, but it's a reflection by St Augustine in his interpretation or commentary on the Gospel of St John. And this is the commentary of St Augustine, Tractate 75, paragraph 4. There are many tractates in this commentary of St. Augustine's, but we're focusing on this particular tractate, which deals with John chapter 14, verses 18 through 21. And this is from the New American Bible translation. "I will not leave you orphans, I will come to you. In a little while, the world will no longer see me, but you will see me, because I live and you will live." Verse 20, "On that day you will realize that I am in the Father, and you are in me, and I in you." Verse 21, "Whoever has my commandments and observes them is the one who loves me. And whoever loves me will be loved by my Father, and I will love him and reveal myself to him." So these are the 4 verses St. Augustine is going to comment on in this tractate 75. And we're focusing on paragraph 4, which is his commentary on verse 20. "On that day you will realize that I am in the Father, and you are in me, and I in you." And this is, let me read the passage to you, and then I'll give my own comment on the St. Augustine, if you have patience with this. So, paragraph 4, tractate 75. "In that day," he says, "ye shall know that I am in the Father, and you in me, and I in you." In what day, but in that whereof he said, "Ye shall live also." For then will it be that we can see what we believe. For even now is he in us, and we in him. This we believe now, but then shall we also know it, although what we know even now by faith, we shall know then by actual vision. For as long as we are in the body, as it now is, to wit, corruptible and encumbering to the soul, we live at a distance from the Lord. For we walk by faith, not by sight. Then accordingly it will be by sight, for we shall see him as he is. For if Christ were not even now in us, the apostle would not say, and if Christ be in you, the body is dead indeed because of sin, but the spirit is life because of righteousness. But that we're also in him, even then, he makes sufficiently clear when he says, I am the vine, ye are the branches. Accordingly, in that day, when we shall be living the life whereby death shall be swallowed up, we shall know that he is in the Father, and we in him, and he in us. For then shall be completed that very state which is already in the present begun by him, that he should be in us, and we in him. Unquote. So this is my own reflection on what St. Augustine has shared with us in his contemplation of St. John. Chapter 14, verse 20. St. Augustine connects the experience of the faithful disciple of Jesus who will enter into the perfect joy of that which St. Thomas says they will see him as he is, and which is the perfect realization of what St. John calls being called the children of God. 1 John chapter 3, verse 2. St. Augustine says what the happiness of this vision is when he says we shall see what we believe. Here in this fourth paragraph in Tractate 75 in St. John. Here St. Augustine says, we walk by faith, quoting St. Paul's second letter to the Corinthians, chapter 5, verse 7. But there we shall experience the sight of which we long for here in this valley of tears, away from our true home, but also weighed down by this corruptible flesh, and escaping the onslaughts of evil temptations along the narrow way, following our Lord Jesus, who is forever faithful in his sheep. Now, St. Augustine wants to make it clear that though we long to see fully then, Christ is already with us along the way. So he quotes St. Paul, who says, and if Christ be in you, the body is dead, indeed because of sin, but the spirit is life because of righteousness. From Romans chapter 8, verse 10. And also that not only is he in us by his grace, through baptism, confirmation, the Eucharist, but we also are in him, being grafted onto him by the gift of the eternal adoption as his children. Therefore he repeats St. John the Evangelist, saying, I am the vine, you are the branches. From St. John chapter 15, verse 5. This grafting did not take place by the work of human hands, but by the eternal election and foresight of God, who chose us in him before the world began, and that Christ would be the firstborn of many brethren. But then, At that time we shall see eternally and without end what when death is swallowed up in victory, that he is in the Father, and we in him, and he in us. And I hope you find this helpful. It's just a way that we can comprehend this passage of St. John. He was such a great apostle. And in a few words, he plumbs the depths of this mystery of faith. And by going back over it through the different fathers of the church, the doctors of the church, well, first, the angelic doctor, St. Thomas Aquinas, and here the doctor of grace, St. Augustine. Hopefully, I would like to add a few other passages from different saints reflecting on this passage. But for now, I think it's sufficient. And hope you have a blessed day. And take care.